Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Playbook podcast. And as you can see, we're going to do the England episode right now. And we're doing this right in the as they're basking in the glory of their European Championship triumph, like literally becoming the first team since Germany to retain, or the only other European country since Germany to retain a European Championship. Let's put it that way to frame it better. And normally, whenever I start some of these videos, I generally talk about the country itself. But you know, in the case of England, I don't think there should be anything that should be said about England because it's a pretty well-known country, and I think here the focus should be more on the footballing achievements of the country in this particular case. So let's rewind the clock more than 100 years back. Okay, so picture yourself on Boxing Day 1920. It's a grey Liverpool morning, which is a pretty normal sight in when you're a native of Liverpool. 53,000 fans were crammed into Goodison Park, currently the former stadium of the Everton men's team, and it's about to be the permanent stadium for the Everton women's team, by the way. And another 15,000 were turned away. Like so, basically, close to 68,000 fans were so excited to watch the match, and it came to such a stage that 15,000 fans weren't able to watch the match. And the reason why they were all there was to watch the Dicker ladies defeat St. Helens 4-0. Now these women, most of them were munitions workers, had filled stadiums across Britain while the men were at the war front, raising what would today be millions for war charities. And their success frightened the establishment. In December 1921, the Football Association banned women from its grounds, branding the game quite unsuitable for females. A vibrant sport was pushed to the margins for 50 years. Yet women kept playing on park pitches. Lillipar, the cannon-footed winger who once broke a professional men's goalkeeper's arm with a penalty, scored more than 900 career goals despite the ban. Now, the dam finally cracked in 1971 when UEFA ordered every federation to run a women's program. England's first official Lionesses took the field on 18 November 1972, beating the old enemy Scotland, by the way, 3-2 on a snow-covered Ravenscraig track. An interesting fact about this game: this took place exactly 100 years since the England men's team played the first ever international game against Scotland again. Now, from 1972, let's fast forward to 1998, and we have Hope Powell, who became the England women's national team's first full-time female national coach, and she helped professionalize the pathway. And during the course of her tenure, she led England to the Euro 2009 final and became the first woman to earn the UEFA Pro license. And this is particularly seminal considering the fact that she was the child of Jamaican immigrants, let's say, and being a woman is one thing, being a black woman and to do so is another thing entirely. She made it okay for women like her to be considered for jobs like this. Now, soon after she came into the frame, domestic change followed. The Women's Super League launched in 2011, shifted to a winter calendar in 2017, and turned fully professional in 2018, demanding 16-hour weekly contracts and academies for every club. Crowds and sponsorship surged, and the to top it off, we had Wembley have 87,192 people attend the Euro 2022 final to set a new European record. Now, in segment two, let's talk about a player who really redefined, what it is, who conquered the odds to, make it and become a England international. And we're talking about Fran Kirby, who was also known as the mini Messi, and she nearly walked away from the game. Now, it's 2008, and we are right now, the scene is, we are right now at Reading FC's academy. Now, 14-year-old Fran Kirby was sitting beside her mum, Denise, during a season review meeting. Now, midway through this particular meeting, Denise complains of a blinding headache, puts her head on the table, and never lifts it again. A sudden brain hemorrhage ends her life and shatters Fran's world. Kirby keeps playing, but delayed grief hits her hard at the age of 17. At an England under 17 camp, she just breaks down completely, saying, I missed my mum, she later recalls. Some mornings she can't even reach the bus stop before tears overwhelm her. So what she does is she quits football. Now, a friend invited her one day to play in a Sunday league football game, and it slowly drew her back in. And by 2012, she's ripping up the Women's Premier League, scoring 32 goals in 21 games. And then in the 2015 World Cup, it finally introduces mini Messi to the world. But then, amidst all this, the battles keep coming. In 2019, pericarditis, which is basically an inflammation of the heart lining, nearly ends her career. She sleeps 15 hours a day, and an oxygen tent dominates her room in 2022. Yet that same summer, she starts England's Euro 2022 opener, dazzles in the quarterfinal win over Spain, and curls in the fourth goal of a 4-0 semi-final win against Sweden before lifting the trophy at Wembley, her late mum's prediction having been fulfilled as a result. Now, this June, she learned that she would not make the Euro 2025 squad, and immediately after that, she announced her England retirement. She said that it was a dagger to her heart, but also a weight off her shoulders. And in an interview with BBC, so the teenager who nearly walked away, by the way, finished with 77 caps, 31 goals, a European winners medal, and a legacy of resilience. And she laid the path for women to not just to sometimes you just have to persevere against difficulties. And I think what her story tells is like she nearly didn't even make it. She had so many obstacles along the way, and what she did, or I mean, what she does, will definitely be talked about for a long, long time. Now we're going to talk about the moment which changed everything, and that is Wembley 2022. So it is 30. It's the 31st of July 2022, and we are at the Wembley Stadium. A record 87,192 roaring fans were within the Wembley arches of Wembley, and this set an all-time European record. And they all watched Ella Toon chip uh, Germany's keeper to score the first goal of the game, and then Lena Magul equalize, and then they saw super sub Chloe Kelly poke home in extra time to clinch England's first major title since 1966. And this is so seminal considering we're considering the 1966 Men's World Cup triumph, and this England women's team managed to do something which the men's team has not done for close to 60 years now, 59 years to be exact. But yeah, and they've done it twice. Now let's not talk about the second time until now. So right after this, the fireworks erupt. Sweet Caroline just drowns the PA, and captain Leah Williamson hoists the silverware, and a nation realizes the women's game has arrived. Now the ripple effect immediately after this was quite something to behold. Grassroots football registrations tripled within a season. Primetime TV slots became the norm. Sponsors raced to align with the Lionesses' values of teamwork and authenticity. And Wembley became the go-to venue for marquee friendlies. So this particular Euro triumph was more than just a trophy. It was a cultural reset, and it was proof that investment yields glory, and that visibility breeds belief, and that women's football can pack the same emotional punch as any men's final. And Serena Williams' squad left Wembley not just as champions, but as catalysts for systemic change. So post 2022, the Lionesses reshaped English sport. Youth registrations for girls became the fastest growing metric in the FA's history. On the club front, Arsenal women confirmed all their WSL home fixtures will now be staged at the 60,000 seater Emirates Stadium. and it also meant that they would not be splitting time with boredom would. Meanwhile, Manchester derbies drew record crowds at both the Etihad as well as the Old Trafford, turning rivalry days into city-wide festivals. Barclays renewed its title sponsorship in a deal reported at £30 million, and Sky BBC coverage delivers primetime slots that outrate mid-table Premier League matches. Equal pay agreements for tournament bonuses finalized in 2024 ensured the Lionesses earned the same basic per diems as their male counterparts. Success without legacy is just a party. It's a quote said by Captain Leah Williamson, and that is something which should be, pretty. It's a pretty memorable quote. Let's just put it that way. And now we're going to come to the present. Euro 2025. So we're in Switzerland in the month of July 2025, and the Lionesses were drawn in what turned out to be a really dangerous group containing France, the Netherlands, and Wales. And they started the campaign in pretty inauspicious fashion, losing 2-1 to France, but then they rebounded emphatically with a 4-0 victory over the Netherlands and a 6-1 win against Wales to escape or to come second in Group D. Now, this gave them, this set up a quarterfinal against the high flying Swedes, by the way, who had gone unbeaten, or like rather had one who had gone unbeaten through the group stage and were feeling it. And the Swedes, they were out of the traps immediately. They swarmed and they raced to a 2-0 lead. But then that 2-0 lead was, there was still something bothering me about that 2-0 lead. They never looked secure entirely with the 2-0 lead. And then in the 79th minute, we had Lucy Bronze powering home a header. And just 2 minutes later, 19-year-old Michel Adjemang poached the equalizer. Extra time came and went. There was a lot of chaos during extra time, but no goals. And then it went to penalties. And let's just say this was like one of the wildest shootouts in tournament history. 9 of the 14 kicks were missed. Lucy Bronze, who was England's seventh taker, lashed her spot kick into the roof of the net, and Sweden's Smilla Holmberg took her penalty, and then instead of sending it into the roof of the net, she ended up sending it to Mars into orbit. And as a result, England advanced 3-2 on penalties. And now the semi-final, which happened in Geneva, another close game, another game in which England were down till the end, and Italy had done so well to lead until the 96th minute here. And all it took was Adjemang to equalize in 97th minute for for England to stay in the competition. And to think that Italy were just 1 minute away from from advancing to the final. And then in extra time we had Chloe Kelly, Chloe Kelly, just come again and bury her own rebound from a saved penalty in the 119th minute. Another Kelly classic. And now we're on to the final at Basel. So Spain again, they came out of the traps. It's a habit with this particular England team. Let's put it. They're always pretty slow off the blocks. Let's just say. And Spain struck first through Mariana Caldente, but that lead was a very precarious lead as again super sub Chloe Kelly was subbed on in the 41st minute this time to to come in place of an injured Lauren James. And again she made an impact. She gave the cross for Alicia Russo to level with a towering header in the 57th minute. Again, the rest of the regulation time didn't see any goals. Extra time came and went, and it was a stalemate and brought another shootout. Goalkeeper Hannah Hampton saved 3 times. First time over from Mariana Caldente, second time from reigning Ballon d'Or winner Aitana Bonmati, and the third time was Salma Parwell Paraluello, missing her penalty completely, shooting wide, and as a result, Chloe Kelly had the chance to score the penalty, which would retain England's European Championship, and she converts per usual. I mean, it's not something she's got ice cold. She's ice cold in her veins, and thus England became the first European nation, other than Germany, to retain their European title. The aftermath of this, we saw UEFA's technical observers name Hannah Hampton, Lucy Bronze, Alicia Russo, and Chloe Kelly in the team of the tournament. We also saw Michelle Adjemang crowned as the young player of the tournament. And now Serena Wigman, who's now a three-time European champion with two nations, has signed on through 2029. As we go through, as we've gone through this journey, we've seen the journey and evolution of England women's football, from pioneers to record-breaking champions. English women's football has traversed a century-long arc of resilience, reinvention, as well as revolution. Euro 2022 lit the fuse. Euro 2025 proved the blast radius. The Lionesses are no longer playing catch up with history, they are writing it. And thanks for watching another episode of the Beyond the Playbook podcast. And please like, subscribe, and drop a comment on this video if you feel so. Bye bye.